Welcome to My Fair Katie, a film review podcast. I, Katie Shimmick, will watch movies with my dad.
That'd be me, Scott Shimmick.
Together we will dive into a sometimes deep but hopefully always fun discussion of classic films. Today's movie is Twilight Zone, the movie.
Twilight Zone, the movie. No?
I'll keep the animating to you.
Alright.
Twilight Zone is an anthology film featuring 4 episodes, one of which was directed by Spielberg.
The star of our season.
Yep. Yes, let's do a 4-sentence recap, one for each episode.
Okay. Who goes first? Me or you?
You.
Okay. This is kind of boring because it's just 1 sentence for each episode.
Yeah, I went back good.
An angry bigot walks, runs, swims a mile in another man's shoes. Walks, runs, swims. No.
Why is your sentence so short?
I don't know.
I wrote like a whole essay.
You got like a 800-word sentence. Lots of commas and semicolons and such.
Yes.
I'm sure your English teacher would be happy about that. Old folks get to feel young again, but decide to stay old. Mostly. No? Alright. A spoiled child controls the house and ends up getting his way anyway?
Yeah.
A gremlin nearly brings down a plane, but everyone thinks the only one that can see it is crazy.
Okay, my first one. A racist Bill Connor is transformed into a Jewish person during World War II, where he is eventually carted off into what we can assume is a concentration camp.
What about the... Okay, I mean, it's one sentence.
Well, that was like the most important one.
Yeah, it's 1 sentence.
In the next one, Mr. Bloom comes to a retirement home to teach the residents that they are only as young as they feel, and giving it a very heartwarming end.
Okay.
In the third, Helen Foley meets Anthony, a little boy who is not what he seems and can control everything around him, scaring his entire family into doing his biddings.
Okay. And the last one?
A panicking plane passenger, John Valentine, sees gremlins attacking the flight and is called crazy until they land and see that he was right all along.
Alright. So we got a feel for this. Were these based on real Twilight Zone episodes?
Loosely, some of them were.
Yeah.
And the ones that didn't had callbacks to, like, actual episodes.
Like in the prologue?
Yeah.
Where they were talking about episodes?
Yeah, and, like they had a few, like magazines of Twilight Zones, and, like, some of the people were related to the original makers of it.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Are you spoiling something for later?
No, I didn't include this, but
Oh.
one of the flight attendants was married to a creator of the show.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
You mean a creator of the movie?
No, the show.
The show?
Yeah.
Like Rod Serling?
Yeah.
Wait a
Not
minute.
Rod Sterling, but, like, one of them.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh. That's funny because Dan Aykroyd, who was in the beginning and the end, he was married to Donna Dixon, who was the other flight attendant.
While they were filming?
I don't know. I don't keep up with that kind of stuff.
Oh.
But I'm pretty sure I'm not 100% sure they're married. I might be completely wrong. I might have made all that up.
Just for attention?
No, not just for attention. Just to sound smart. Because you have all these facts and I don't have any.
So when was the first time that you saw this?
I saw this, it would have been the first time it ran on HBO. So, probably about a year after it came out in theaters. Everybody, talking about it at school and stuff. But I bet I haven't seen it since the late 80s for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Is this your first time?
Yes. But not for the Twilight Zone universe.
Not the Twilight Zone, but the movie.
Yeah, the movie.
The movie. First time in color.
Yeah.
Okay. So the reviews. It got 44 Metacritic. That's pretty low Metacritic. And a 59 Rotten Tomato. Not a terribly good score, but not the worst we've done.
That's funny that you say that because when I was like researching, like the movie itself was like a huge success. Like it made a lot of money.
It did. It was really popular. Did you read any of the reviews from any famous people from the time? No?
No.
I did check out Roger Ebert's just to kind of get a feel for what he thought. And I think he liked 2 of them a lot and thought one was okay and thought one was bad.
That's actually kind of what I'm thinking too.
Yeah. It might be the same ones, I bet.
Yeah.
All right. Awards. There were some Saturn Awards, which is, like the Sci-Fi Horror Award, but not really much here. Obviously no Oscars like the last movie.
Yeah.
Earmuffs. We had some mild cursing.
Yeah.
Some racial slurs.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah. I've heard some ones that I never actually heard before.
Some antiquated racial slurs. Some not what we wanted you to learn from this. No. Some smoking and drinking, of course. Yeah. Adult themes, things like that.
Yeah.
But nothing terribly inappropriate.
Mm-mm.
All right, so what did you think? How about if we just run through each of the 4 episodes?
Okay.
Okay. So what did you think about the first one? Lump in the prologue, because John Landis directed the prologue and the first episode. So what did you think of that one?
Well, I thought that the prologue was actually like really like interesting. Like at first, I thought it was the first story, because I thought that the build up and the tension of it was actually really good.
Yeah, and for me personally, I watch Albert Brooks all day, any day. I watch him do anything.
And actually, that like kind of scared me, like when he became like the werewolf or whatever.
You jumped. I was surprised. Obviously, I knew it was coming, but I was surprised that you were surprised by that.
Yeah.
So John Landis directed Thriller. It felt a lot like Thriller in the beginning, didn't it?
Yeah.
The makeup and everything. And Dan Aykroyd, did you recognize him from anything? Elwood Blues? The Blues Brothers?
No.
No?
No.
Oh.
But I also really like that, because, like, none of them really connected with each other, but I really liked, in the end, like, it kind of tied back with the prologue.
Did you like that? Did you think it, made the movie better?
Thought it made it more like a movie and not, like, 4 short stories.
Yeah, but was it good, though?
I thought it was a little cheesy at the end, but I thought it was fun.
Yeah, I liked it at the end.
Yeah.
Yeah, I liked that he was playing Creedence and different Creedence songs, I think, from the beginning and at the end.
Mm-hmm.
But then John Lithgow's like, hey, I love Creedence. I like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, so that's the prologue. What did you think about that first episode? Directed by John Landis, too.
The first episode, I think, was my favorite.
Yeah, I think it's my favorite, too. What did you like about it?
Well, like, excluding all the behind the scenes, I thought that it was, like, the most, like...
Well, and you didn't know about that until
I didn't know anything.
No, I told you
about
after we watched it, yeah.
I thought it was, like, by far the most, like, intriguing and, like, interesting to watch, and, like, the visuals. And I know that it's later, but the only other, like, interesting set was the third one in, like, the house. But I thought that it was really cool seeing the different, like, times and, like, the sets of each period.
It was good transitions, right?
Yeah.
He falls off the roof and into the water and comes out of the water and yeah.
And, like, the explosion, and he's, like, explodes into the next time.
Right. I mean, it's say hacky, but it was a good seamless transition, even if it was done a million times before.
Yeah, and also it, like, added to the stress of it.
Yeah.
Like, it was, like, very disorienting.
So what did you think about the messages of that? And do you think it's still relevant? Because that was the most messagey of all the 4, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I thought it was good.
Do you think it's still relevant today?
Yeah.
Think it's a little over the top?
Yeah, I wish that they had more, maybe, like, subtly made you dislike the character. like, I thought that in the beginning it was a bit too obvious, and like, he would, obviously you hated him, but he wasn't like, it was too obvious why you hated him.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Yeah. And that leads to the other thing you referenced with the behind the scenes. That character, the actor actually dies in the movie, right?
Yeah.
Like, died making the movie.
Yeah.
With 2 young children,
Mm-hmm.
who were not supposed to be on set, and that was a lot of the controversy. But the reason they were filming that was he was supposed to be saving 2 kids to build some empathy for him.
Yeah, but honestly, I think that wouldn't have really redeemed him too much. I mean, because that's a completely different thing. It doesn't show that he resolved himself at all.
Well, if they weren't 2 white kids, they were...
Well, yeah, but if you don't save 2 kids, like, saving 2 kids doesn't make you a good person. It makes you normal.
Okay, that's actually a fair comment. Like, that's an expectation.
Yeah, that's like the bare minimum.
Right. So, okay. I want to talk about some nitpicks, unresolved questions. Did you have anything you wanted to mention first, or can I jump right into one of my nitpicks about this one?
You can jump in.
Okay. And it's really my only one, really. The mom in occupied France?
Yes.
With the 3 kids?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, and I think you mentioned this too about, like, she's not doing a very good job stopping, protecting her kids.
Mm-hmm.
Because what did she do? She moved
she moved like a dresser in front of the door.
Not even a big one.
Just like a little like waist high one.
Right. I noticed she's sitting on the bed, like she locks herself in the bedroom, locks, right? Mm-hmm. And he just bursts right in. She's got the 3 kids kind of in front of her.
Yeah, and you know what? The way he was standing outside, she could have pushed him off. Like, when she was standing outside on the roof. Like, she really did not try to help her kids at all.
Now, you were, on our last episode, you were giving Barry's mom a pretty hard time about that in what was a very terrifying circumstance and probably not winnable. But here you're saying that the mom could have, like, killed the dude and didn't.
Yeah, and saved her kids. Like,
so
even though, obviously, like...
So who's the better mom?
Well, I think that the worst mom out of all of them is the one in the 3rd movie. In the 3rd short story.
Yeah, that's not the real mom, though.
That's not his real mom?
No.
Oh, right.
Or his real sister, or his real dad,
yeah.
Or his real uncle.
I still think Barry's mom is probably worse.
Alright, fine. Alright, so, was there any, not really much architecture or car casting we can talk about here. Really the whole movie, so we can just...
Yeah, we can skip past that.
We can skip past that. Anything about the set design or the music?
Well, I think we already mentioned the set design of...
You did, that's right.
I thought it was really... But I think it was the most interesting.
Yeah.
Like, the second one takes place in a nursing home. Like, not really too much going on there. And then the last one is, like, an airplane. So, again, like...
Yeah, but the 3rd one was interesting.
Yeah, the 3rd one.
We'll talk about that one.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, so let's talk about the second movie. So that was John Landis.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's rank him at the end.
Okay.
Okay. So the second one is Steven Spielberg, the reason why we're watching this movie.
Yes.
Okay. So what did you think about this story?
It wasn't my favorite. I didn't think it felt like a Twilight Zone at all.
It's not very Twilight Zone-y, is it?
No, and I don't know, but I feel like I don't know if it was an old Twilight Zone, but I feel like I had already seen this type of story before.
I don't think it was an old Twilight Zone. I think this is the one that was completely new.
I know, I just feel like I've seen this somewhere. Like, didn't really seem original to me, the story, at least. But, I didn't include this on my facts, so I can tell you. But after the whole accident, Steven Spielberg, like ruined his friendship with John Landis, like, publicly. And he just wanted to get it over with as quickly as possible.
Get what over with?
The filming in the movie.
Oh.
Yeah. So
but he'd already shot his part, didn't he?
Well, he didn't edit it at all.
I think they all felt that way.
Yeah, but him especially.
George Miller quit too, right? So Scatman Crothers was in this, right?
Yeah.
And he played a similar role in The Shining, right?
Yeah.
I mean, a little bit more friendly in this one.
Mm-hmm.
But the same kind of...
Purpose?
Well, I was thinking, like ESP, magical powers kind of thing.
Yeah.
I thought that was kind of interesting now, looking back, that the troubling trope followed a racial morality play.
Yeah.
All right, so the John Landis one you really like, the Steven Spielberg one, you get the kids, the old people turn into kids.
Yeah.
And let's just talk about the plot here for a minute before we get into like the direction of it. Did you think that those people made choices appropriate to the characters that had been established? Well, let's take one at a time, right? So there was Mrs. Dempsey, the old lady whose husband had passed away.
Yeah, I think that was appropriate.
She wanted to dance.
Yeah, and she got to dance, but also she realized she didn't want to live a whole another life and lose everyone again.
Yeah.
Which was sad.
It is really sad.
Yeah.
And the first time I saw it, I was, 13, 14. I didn't look at the world that way. And now I have a better understanding of that.
Yeah.
And it is sad. I hated this one back. Like, this is the one I really didn't like. What about the couple?
I think more than maybe that guy who actually stayed, like the kid, I think it would have made more sense if they stayed young, because like for at least Miss Dempsey, right? Mm-hmm. She didn't want to stay young because like she would lose everyone again, but if they had each other, so why wouldn't they want to be young again?
Yeah, and I guess she said she didn't want to like lose all of her friends again.
Yeah, but it seemed like the same excuse. He should have come up with a different one.
Yeah, instead of focusing on the pain, focus on the 50, 60, 70 beautiful years you had with all your friends.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I say 50 because I don't think they were that old.
No. Like, the husband, and he looks so young. Like...
And how about the bachelor guy? He's the one who chose to stay a teenager.
Yeah, I guess that one made sense, I guess.
They're like 13, 12, 13.
Yeah.
But he was really, like, young and vivacious. Didn't look like he should be living in a...
No. Except for Miss Dempsey, they all look like they were under 60.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, back then, I guess, when you hit your 50s, you just went to an old folks' home, and that was it. It was over.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was the 80s. I mean, we were pretty much done back then. So, thank you for not putting me in a home yet.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
You better keep up your act.
I'll keep trying hard. All right, so let's talk about the third one.
No, before we move on.
Yeah.
The first one, when he walks into the bar, I had no clue where it was going. But then, this one, like, I just feel like it was so, like, guessable, and you knew exactly where it was going, and it didn't really...
Guessable.
Predictable.
Okay.
That's what I meant.
Yeah, I got it.
But, like, it just didn't seem like the story was very well thought out, and it didn't... Like, it was a really sweet message, and, like, it was happy, but it just wasn't, like, a good story.
So there was another series that was on TV called Amazing Stories that I think Steven Spielberg was an executive producer on. I think this felt like more like one of those.
Yeah.
Yeah, it didn't have like the weird twist or...
No, it was like, okay, he's magical and that's like the only crazy thing that happened, but like I think you were expecting that, the way that they were talking. And the way that he was like acting, like you knew he had something up his sleeve.
Yeah, like in a Twilight Zone episode, you'd think they started playing Kick the Can and like, I don't know, they would end up inside the can or something. Yeah, I don't know, something weird. I don't write Twilight Zones, that's why. That's the best I could come up with.
That's okay.
Yeah, I'm just a lawyer, not a writer. All right, so not a big fan of the direction of this one.
No.
Okay, so let's start with the third one, Joe Dante. Oh, it was that bad?
It was the worst one.
Joe Dante, who directed Gremlins.
Okay.
Okay. I wanted to finish that. Sorry.
Sorry.
We all know what Spielberg directed.
Yeah.
Okay, so this one, run through it. She runs into the kid, literally.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why.
She hits him by a car.
Yeah.
You think he did that on purpose?
Yeah, he absolutely did it on purpose. He was trying to trap her.
Yeah.
Because he liked her, because she stood up for him in the bar.
Yeah.
Why is a kid in a bar?
It wasn't a bar, it was a diner.
Was it a diner? It felt kind of like a
She
bar.
had a hamburger.
Bars serve hamburgers.
And there was like video games and like
yeah,
booths.
I know. Well, that's what I was gonna say. Is the bars have booths? And yeah, it looked like a bar. But the video game in the '80s, adults played video games in bars.
It was not a bar. It looked like a diner.
Okay, I can see how you'd say it looked like a diner. It kind of looked like a bar. Kind of looked. Yeah, okay, fine. So let's call it a diner.
Okay.
But he was the only kid in there.
Okay.
There weren't like families eating omelets.
Yeah. Well, it was a dead town. Probably because Anthony scared everyone out of it.
So, she takes him home because she wrecks his bike.
Mm-hmm.
Family's acting really strange.
Really strange.
The house looks really weird.
Yeah.
And you notice that, like, when you start watching, you're like, this house looks weird. It looks like a cartoon.
Yeah.
Like, the colors are so bright. And all the TVs had cartoons on them.
Mm-hmm.
What I like, they go upstairs, and it's black and white cartoons, and the whole upstairs was black and white.
Yeah. And while we're upstairs, that was actually the only other thing that kind of gave me a jump scare.
What's that?
When they showed the sister who had the accident.
The actual sister?
Yeah. And she, like, her mouth was gone.
Yeah.
Which was Bart Simpson, by the way.
No, Bart Simpson was Ethel.
It was the same girl.
It was the same girl?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, I guess I didn't recognize it without the mouth. But it always reminds me of The Matrix when I see that.
Yeah.
You know, the scene where they tie him down. Anyway, so, yeah. That was creepy. And it panned up, too. She was just, like, watching cartoons. You thought she was kind of crazy, and it panned up, and she was missing a mouth.
Yeah. I thought it was really good up until that point. I was really interested. I was like, why is this family acting so weird?
You were really enjoying it, yeah.
And I was like, what's going on?
Mm-hmm.
But then it just went on a bit too far.
It did. It did. So, she made them eat. He made them eat what? His birthday every day, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And they had to eat peanut butter hamburgers.
Yep.
You know, I have a special treat here for us.
Really?
Yes. I have a peanut butter cheeseburger. Here. Have some. We'll try it. I've never had one. You've never had one? Let's try a bite and see what we think.
I don't like peanut butter.
Well, I know, but neither did anybody in the house. Actually, the peanut butter helps it go down easier. Right? That's what Uncle says. Yeah. Okay, give it a try. Tell me what you think. I'll talk a little bit while you chew so that we don't have quiet space. You can't spit it out. You got to chew it.
Oh my god, it's so bad.
You got to chew it. You haven't even chewed it yet. How can you even taste it? She's got her mouth inside of her shirt. She's trying really hard not to throw up. Okay, here, let me try it. You're supposed to talk.
I can't. I'm still thinking about how disgusting it was.
I would say, I don't think it's bad. I did bring some water for you. I don't know that I recommend it.
No.
Okay, so at the end of the episode, he ends up basically getting away with it, even though he's a spoiled brat, right?
Yeah, he just escaped and left his family. And now he's...
not his family.
Well, his fake family. And now he's probably just going to manipulate Helen into doing whatever he wants her to.
Yeah, do you think she'll be able to keep him in line, or do you think he's just going to... No?
Well, what is she going to do if he gets angry at her one day?
Say, I won't like you anymore?
Well, what if he just decides he doesn't care?
Well, I guess he doesn't. The only thing he wants that he can't have is someone to genuinely like him.
Yeah.
That's the only thing he can't make you do is actually like him.
Yeah.
So maybe if she actually likes him,
He'll stop acting like that.
yeah, maybe he grows up. But I agree. I think you're right. I don't think he's going to grow up.
Mm-mm.
It might take 2 or 3 more people like her before he ends up.
Yeah.
Would you like to have that power?
If I had that power, I would only need like 2 or 3 wishes and I would be set.
I think you kind of have that power.
No, I would just be him and I would be like, I need $1 million from like everyone.
I think the 3 of us are like the family when you're around. We're like, oh, Katie, oh, Katie, whatever you want, Katie, whatever you want.
Well, that's the way it should be.
Exactly. All right. So, a big no from you on this one, but we'll do a recap later. And then the 4th one is definitely a real Twilight Zone episode because it's famous. It's like the most famous Twilight Zone episode, starring William Shatner, who became Captain Kirk.
Mm-hmm.
You don't know who Captain Kirk is?
Nope.
Star Trek?
No.
You've never heard of Star Trek?
Mm-mm.
Stop. You've heard of Star Trek.
Only from Young Sheldon.
The original Star Trek.
Okay.
He's the original Captain Kirk. Anyway, he's a very famous actor, and he was in lots of stuff.
Yeah.
He was in a Columbo.
Was he the bad guy?
Yeah, he was the murderer. He was the actor who was playing a detective.
Interesting.
You don't remember that one?
No.
Oh. He was like a bad actor, which is perfect because William Shatner, some think, is a bad actor. Anyway, we're talking about the show, not the movie. Let's talk about the movie.
Mm-hmm.
So that role was played by John Lithgow.
Who was really good.
He was really good. He started off, it was a little bit longer, so they showed a little bit more of like him freaking out rather than just like seeing something. He was already crazy scared.
Yeah.
I liked that people doubted him more because they knew he was already kind of...
Yeah, it establishes that he was, like, probably not in his right mindset.
Right.
And, like...
Instead of just a business traveler who sees something on the wing.
Yeah, but also it adds, like, more depth, too, because it, like, he, like, wrote a science book and, like, it showed that he was actually, like, a smart person. He wasn't just a wacko.
Right.
He was, like, a smart wacko.
Right. Right. John Lithgow has been in all kinds of stuff, and he plays all kinds of great characters, but this is one of his best roles, I think.
Yeah.
I think you recapped it in one sentence, and pretty much right, is there's something on the wing, nobody else sees it but him. And I think you're supposed to think, is there something actually out there? Did you ever feel like there maybe wasn't something?
Yeah. Like, when they were like, oh, it's just lightning. Like, I believe the flight attendants.
You did?
Yeah.
And then, so at the end, was that a reveal that the gremlin was real?
Yeah, because they were like, whoa, look over here, and like everything was like pulled. And like it was very clear it wasn't
Claw
lightning.
marks.
Yeah, claw marks.
Yeah. So you like that reveal?
Yeah.
Okay, so this one was directed by George Miller. George Miller did Mad Max, Mad Max 2, Mad Max 3, then this, then Babe, Pig in the City, Happy Feet 2. This kind of put him off of doing those kind of movies, maybe. You've never seen any of those.
I've seen Happy Feet.
No, the Mad Max movies.
Oh.
Yeah. Those are, well, Road Warrior would be good.
Mm-hmm.
The other ones are a little intense and, still. Thunderdome isn't, but it's not as good. You probably wouldn't even like it.
Yeah.
It was real, beautiful 80s. Big Tina Turner songs. Crazy hair. Just a mullet. Mel Gibson had a big mullet. No?
No.
All right. So, and then we go back to the epilogue, and we see John Lithgow and Dan Aykroyd again in the ambulance.
Yeah. And he, like, eats him. Or kills him.
Yeah, you assume so, right? You want to see something really scary, he says? You know what that means.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, because they didn't even show him.
No, not at the end. But you know what's going to happen when he says that.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, so overall, did you enjoy the movie experience?
Yeah, I would say so.
Okay. Let's rank the episodes now.
Okay.
Okay, number 1.
The first one.
Agreed. The first one. Well,
Close to the last one. I would say those two are pretty close to my top two.
okay. The only reason I'm not putting... Actually, I think I'm going to backtrack. I'm going to put the last one first as my number one.
Just to be different?
No. I was going to say the reason why I wasn't going to put it first is because it was so much an episode that was already really good, so why redo it?
But I think they put their own twist.
Yeah, and that's why I just had a change of heart as we're talking through it. So I'm big enough to admit that, that maybe I was wrong.
I'm not doing that for Steven Spielberg because this just proved my point.
Okay. Number two, I guess is the opposite, right? Number two is...
The last one.
Okay, and for me it was the first one. And the reason why I put that one a little bit lower is because it is a little bit obvious. Like you mentioned.
Yeah.
Like, he's obviously such a dislikable character.
Mm-hmm.
It might have been more, if he was more insidious with his racism.
Yeah, and maybe, he had some redeeming qualities, too, so you're a bit conflicted.
Right, like a likable guy who's, quiet about the racism,
mm-hmm.
instead of just yelling slurs in the middle of a bar and...
Causing fights with random people, and,
right.
Harassing women.
Yeah, yes. Yeah, yes. Yeah, that was definitely, he didn't get his comeuppance for that part.
No.
He got his comeuppance for, the racial slurs about the Jews, about the Koreans, about the black people, but not about...
Not about the woman.
Not about the women, no. No, yeah, you know what? The woman should have pushed him off.
She should have pushed him off.
Yeah. We had the same thought, same time. That would have been great. Okay. And then, third place.
Unfortunately, it's going to have to go to Steven Spielberg. The second one.
Okay. I'm going to put the Joe Dante one third. Because I really like the first half.
If it ended 7 or 8 minutes sooner, it would be probably my second choice.
I really like the first half. And I really dislike the kid, but I think you're supposed to because he's a monster.
Yeah.
So I put that one well into third place. I got 1A, 1B, and then 3, and then 4.5.
The first and the last one are miles ahead.
Yeah, that's why I said 1A and 1B. Those are
Okay.
Yeah.
Super close.
Right, and then I got 3.
Yeah.
And then I got 4.5. It's way beyond. It's beyond 4, and there's only 4.
Agreed.
It's not that it's poor craftsmanship. I don't want to say that. I just don't think it fits the movie.
And it's not a good story.
We're ready for some awards, unless you got something else.
I have a few facts.
Oh, some facts. What don't I know this week?
So this one's kind of scary and sad. But as Vic Morrow was waiting to film the helicopter scene, he said to a production assistant, "I must be out of my mind to be doing this. I should have asked for a stunt double. What can they do but kill me, right?" And then he insisted on having a $1 million life insurance policy before he would shoot any scenes.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
And then they were why are you so insistent about this? And he said, "I've always had a premonition that I was going to die in a helicopter crash." He was joking, but so.
Wow, that's crazy. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Okay, that's pretty good. What else you got?
And I couldn't really find too many facts not related to the helicopter, but the other one was that originally all the 4 stories were supposed to intertwine, but then as things kind of fell apart, and except for the one with the little boy lands in timeout, they were all old Twilight stories, basically.
Oh, so the Kick the Can one was a Twilight Zone?
Yeah.
Oh.
I told you, I knew I had seen it. I knew the story seemed so familiar.
Maybe it was. But, since I'm old folks home aged, my memory isn't as good as it used to be.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so remakes? Should they remake this movie?
No.
Because
if
it's so amazing?
If they did remake it, they should do better Twilight stories. Because I know that there's better episodes that they could redo.
There's some really good ones, yeah. Oh, obviously there's dozens of really good ones.
Yeah. I don't even think this movie was necessary in the first place.
So, okay. John Landis was really big at the time. Steven Spielberg, obviously huge.
Mm-hmm.
Right? I mean, coming off the biggest movie in the history of movies, E.T. Okay. Joe Dante was up and coming.
Yeah.
Just doing Gremlins. And then George Miller, had his Mad Max movies.
And Happy Feet.
No, that was much later.
Well, yeah, but
I'm just saying, at the time.
They knew he was going to come out with a masterpiece like that.
I mean, Babe, yeah.
Happy Feet.
Okay, so those are 4 really big names.
Mm-hmm.
And occasionally you see this about once a decade, right? Later in the 80s, near the end of the 80s, there was a New York Stories that had like Woody Allen and Martin Scorsese, and I forget who else, because I didn't look it up before the podcast. But 4 directors did 4 New York Stories, right? And then in the 90s, you had another one where like Quentin Tarantino did an episode and Robert Rodriguez did an episode. So this has happened a few times where you've had these anthology movies. Could you see 4 giant directors like that making a movie like this?
I don't know. I don't think so. Like, who would you even do?
Well, ideally, if I got to pick.
Yeah, you can pick.
Yeah, I can pick and they would just have to do it.
Yeah.
Christopher Nolan.
Mm-hmm.
Paul Thomas Anderson.
Okay.
Wes Anderson.
I don't think he really fits.
No, but I'm...
Okay.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Like, I just think that the movies now are so different that it doesn't really work. And, like, they would all have to compromise, like, their styles.
Yeah, I don't think you'd get...
And why, as a Wes Anderson, why would you do this if it, like, instead of making your own?
I mean, because you do a half-hour one, but I guess with, like, there's so many different creative outlets now for movie makers with streaming services that they don't have to do these kinds of things to try a different project.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Okay, so that's a no on this should be. So let's do our haiku review.
Okay. I'll go first since mine isn't good.
Okay, that's exciting. All right, let's hear your not very good haiku review.
Third was the worst. First was the best by far. Fun but not Twilight.
Got the message across?
Yeah.
Yeah. And it fits?
Not very crafty, but...
No? Kind of like a couple of those episodes.
Oh, yeah. So it was on theme.
Right, very good, very
I did
good.
it on purpose.
Better than you thought.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I got 4 stories, good, bad, inconsistent, not slow-paced, see it or not, meh. No?
No, that was good.
Okay. So, alright, overall, cinema history, where are you putting this thing?
Low.
Overall, in My Fair Katie podcast history.
Above Tentacles.
That's it?
Yeah.
Oof.
This was not a very good movie at all.
Oof. Okay, just peeling off the Spielberg piece.
Okay.
Better than Tentacles? Come on. Tentacles was laugh at.
Yeah, but that's what was good about it. This one, obviously Steven Spielberg, he wouldn't do a joke like that. He did this on purpose.
All right. All right, say that's a wrap, Katie.
That's a wrap, Katie.
This episode of My Fair Katie was written and produced by Scott and Katie Shimmick. A special thanks for our music to Marty Chardy Esquire, the best IP lawyer on this side of the Hudson.